Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Panchatattva, 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 Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe, Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava, Radhe, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Beautiful Kirtan like always. Nice tune. We all enjoyed that. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. Welcome Amma, Pandava Prabhu, Bhagavati Mataji, Samia, Amit, Dharm, and Varshana Mataji. Hare Krishna. Varshana Mataji, you want to sing the Singadev prayers? Or Jaya Radha Madhava, perhaps? Vaishana Mataji, are you there? Where is your microphone button? Click it. No, no Vaishana. Okay, I will sing Jaya Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Gopi Chanavallabha, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Prachanaranjana, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Prachanaranjana, Jaya Munatira Vanachari, Jaya Kunja Hari, Jaya Munatira Vanachari, Jaya Kunja Hari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Gopi Janavallabha, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Gopi Janavallabha, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Prachanaranjana, Jaya Yashodanandana, Jaya Prachanaranjana, Jaya Munatira Vanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Yamunatira Vanachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Giridvaradhari, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jaya Giridvaradhari, Jai Giridvaradhari, Jai Yashodanandana Jaya Praja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Praja Janaranjana Jayamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunchapihari Yamunatiranachari Jaya Kunchapihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunchapihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunchapihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunchapihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunchapihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jai Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Gurudev Jai Gurudev Gurudev Jai Gurudev Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. Welcome everyone, welcome. We got a big turnout. Welcome Amma, Amit, Ben, Dharm, Pandava, Prabhu, Bhagavati Mataji, Rashmi, Samir, Varshana, Kishori Mataji. It's wonderful of having all these assembled Vaishnavas here. 9, we are 9 strong today. And we'll start today the beautiful Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. It's already in the chat area. Our first shloka of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and we'll pause at various points in the purport to just digest really what we are reading. So please click on the link in the chat to go to the first shloka of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. That first chapter 1 of the first canto, questions by the sages. So perhaps it needs a bit of clarification that Bhagavatam, of course, it was spoken on the banks of the Ganga from with Shukadev Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj, who imminent death was predicted by the snake bird Tataksha. And so he assembled with all his royal court. He was the emperor of the world. And he called all the wise men of his country. They all came with him. He wanted to fast and find out what is a process by which the most beneficial process at the time of death. So various sages have suggested different processes until Shukadev Goswami came at the scene. A self-realized, liberated person. And he said the best process for someone who's about to die is hearing the history of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So that it was settled, and all the assembled sages agreed to it because they all recognized the wonderful qualities and position of Shukadev Goswami. And then the Bhagavatam was spoken for the first time. Then the Bhagavatam was spoken for a second time at the sages at Naimisharanya. And we flicking, while we continue reading the Bhagavatam, the conversation is flicking between the story of Shukadev speaking and Maharaj Parikshit is asking questions, and settings of the Naimisharanya forest with sages assembled for 1,000-year sacrifice to counteract the influence of this age of Kali. So at times we hear the story in the story. So therefore that first chapter is called Questions by the Sages. And that is referring to the sages at Naimisharanya. So let's read that first shloka. And then we take a little bit of that purport and verse, of course. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yato Navad Itaratashcharisvi Abhigyasvarat Tene Prama Hridaya Adigabhaye Muyanti Yatsurayaha Techovari Mridam Yata Vinimayo Yatra Trisargum Risha Damna Svena Sada Nrishta Kuka Kuhakam Satyam Param Dimahe. So maybe someone can start to read the verse. Hands up. Who wants to read the verse? Nobody hands up. Samir, can you? Yes, wonderful. And at the same time you put your hand up. Samir, can you read that translation first? Please. You have to unmute, yes.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Dhanavad pranams to everyone. Okay. O my Lord, Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge onto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. As one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water, only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifest by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Thank you very much, Samir. There is a lot there. But Ben, can you read a little bit of the purport? The first paragraph, perhaps just the first paragraph, that would be great. And Samir, you want to mute your microphone. And Ben, are you ready? First paragraph.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, directly indicate Lord Sri Krishna, the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. This fact will be more explicitly explained in the text of this work. Sri Vyasadeva asserts herein that Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all others are his direct or indirect plenary portions or portions of the portion. Srila Jiva Goswami has even more explicitly explained the subject matter in his Krishna Sandarbha, and Brahma, the original living being, has explained the subject of Sri Krishna substantially in his treatise named Brahma Samhita. In the Samaveda Upanishad, it is also stated that Lord Sri Krishna is the divine son of Devaki. Therefore, in his prayer, the first proposition holds that Lord Sri Krishna is the primeval Lord, and if any transcendental nomenclature is to be understood as belonging to the absolute personality of Godhead, it must be the name indicated by the word Krishna, which means the all-attractive. In Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead, and this is confirmed by Arjuna, and also by great sages like Narada, Vyasa, and many others. In the Padma Purana, it is also stated that out of innumerable names of the Lord, the name of Krishna is the principal one. Vasudeva indicates the plenary portion of the personality of Godhead, and all the different forms of the Lord being indicated with Vasudeva. are indicated in this text. The name Vasudeva particularly indicates the divine son of Vasudeva and Devaki. Sri Krishna is always meditated upon by the Paramahamsas, who are the perfected ones among those in the renounced order of life.
Thank you very much, Ben. There is a lot there in this purport. Question. Who is Srila Jiva Goswami? Raise your hand. Anybody wants to say something? We have this beautiful hand-raising feature. Who is Srila Jiva Goswami? He's mentioned here in the purport. Who is he? Oh, I think that hand-raising will not work because we have not all the pictures are visible, at least on my screen. Rashmi Mataji, who is Jiva Goswami? Are you there, Rashmi? Varshana Mataji, who is Jiva Goswami? Anybody, who is Jiva Goswami?
Sorry.
Oh, Rashmi, you're here, yes.
No, let my...
Varshana, are you there?
Sorry, I don't know. I was just going to say he's one of the 6 Goswamis.
Yes, he is one of the 6 Goswamis. Which are the 6 Goswamis? Can we get them together?
Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatt Goswami. One more is missing.
No, 2 missing.
Raghunath Bhatt Goswami.
1 missing.
Huh?
1 missing.
1 missing. Raghunath Bhatt Goswami.
Yes, and?
And so Rupa Goswami, Sanatan, Jiva Goswami.
Yes, we had some. Missing
Raghunath.
is Raghunath Das Goswami. It's a big, renounced, wonderful Vaishnava who ate the rotten rice in front of the Puri temple, which was thrown away to the cows. In such a great example of renunciation. So that, and Jiva Goswami, he is a younger brother of Sanatan and Rupa. And he was very learned, and he has written this Krishna Sandarbha, extremely learned, scholarly Vaishnava with great contributions to the Vaishnava literature. Next question here. It says in red. It doesn't give us a verse. Good. It says in red here in this first paragraph, in Bhagavad Gita, in many places, the Lord asserts himself to be the original personality of Godhead. And this is confirmed by Arjuna. Now, our Bhagavad Gita students, where is this confirmed by Arjuna? Which verse? Anyone?
In the 2nd chapter, Prabhuji. 2nd chapter, Krishna is being addressed as Bhagavan by Arjuna.
Yes, and more specific, where is, yes, in many places, of course, he's addressed as Bhagavan. More specific, where is it affirmed that Krishna is the original personality of Godhead? Anyone? Any verse comes to mind? And I think Srila Prabhupada points to that particular verse, I'm quite sure. Samir, what's that verse?
Sri Krishna to Bhagavan Swayam.
Yes, more particular verse. Anyone? In 10th chapter, text 12 to 13. Very famous verse, and we should learn that by heart. Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dharma pavitram param bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adidevam ajam vibhum. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I mean, that is that verse where really Arjuna spells it out. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. And then he confirms that's not only him saying that, and Srila Prabhupada in that purport, he mentions that maybe Arjuna said that because he was Krishna's friend. No. Here he confirms all the great sages, such as Narada, Asita, Devala, and Vyas, confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. So, very, very important verse. Note that down, that verse. That is really ascertaining Krishna's position. Param Brahma, Param Dharma. Okay, back to this paragraph. Anyone has any questions? Questions? Amit, any questions? Ben? Of course, we know Vyasadeva. He was compiling the Vedas, the 4 Vedas. Rick?
Well,
Yes, Ben?
I mean, you could ask the question, why is the name Krishna the foremost name, the principal name?
No, good question. Why is the name Krishna the foremost and principal name? Anyone can answer that? Anyone? Why is Krishna the foremost and principal name? Rashmi, any answer? Why not Narayan? Why not Nisimhadev? Or any Govinda? Samir? Oh yes, the hands comes up in the list as well. Okay, great. Nice to keep track. Okay, Samir.
Is it because Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and then the others were incarnations of Krishna?
Well, certainly Krishna is the original candle. As they're equally powerful, the incarnations, but Krishna is the original candle. Srila Prabhupada gives that example. You can light many candles from one candle, and they all look quite similar, but one candle was the original candle from which everything emanates. But not only that, we spoke about that I researched, and I got some numbers here. Krishna is Bhagavan, and Krishna has opulences, 100%, Srila Prabhupada says, 100% opulences. And here are the numbers. Krishna is, I mean, many opulences. There are so many opulences. We also have some opulences, and Narayan has some opulence, and Shiva. And here it has been analyzed by Rupa Goswami. It's a percentage points. I think Ben, you spoke about it, and here I got the exact numbers. Krishna is 100% Bhagavan. Narayan is 94% Bhagavan. So Narayan has 94% of the opulences of Krishna, not 100, 94. Shiva has 84 of the opulences. He's 84% Bhagavan, and we, the living entities, at most we have 78%. Now that is just an interesting point, some interesting numbers which relate to, Ben, your question, huh? Why is Krishna? Yes, Krishna is 100% Bhagavan. He has 100% the opulences. So he is above all. Any other questions? Anyone? Many questions could be asked. Pandava, Bhagavati Mataji, anything or comments? Not just questions. Amit? Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Just in the translation.
Come close to the microphone.
Yeah, is that better?
Yes.
That better, yeah? Okay. So it says, he is directly or indirectly conscious of all manifestations. So would that be his universal form?
He is directly, who wants to answer that question? Anyone? He's directly, it's a good question. How is Krishna directly, what does it mean directly? And how is he indirectly knowing all the manifestations and controlling all the manifestations? Who can say? Samir. You have to unmute your microphone.
Sorry. Directly means that he's the super soul within us.
Yes.
So that's directly. And then indirectly, he's aware of every living entity and all the manifestations. So all
How?
manifestations.
How? Indirectly. Directly, that is clear. As a super soul, he's right there. How he's indirectly involved.
Indirectly is that he's not actually he's there directly, but indirectly, obviously he's still performing his own leelas as well. So he's the super soul within us, but also he has that indirect you could say indirect pastimes that he does indirectly.
How?
Apart away from us.
How he is indirectly controlling everything.
Indirectly.
Yes.
Through his
Rashmi.
Indirectly is, for example, the manifestation, this universes and all is actually coming from Brahma. But where has Brahma come from? It's come from Krishna. So indirectly is through various, all the material energy, through all the demigods, etc. He is the ultimate controller. He's the president, where all of these are all the ministers. Brahma is responsible for creation. However, so that's how indirectly it is.
Yes, I like this answer. Indirectly through the demigods, he's controlling everything. Or as Amit said, through the universal form, the demigods are part of that also. So through his agency of the material energy, through Durga Devi. Durga Devi is in charge of the material energy. Just like the Prime Minister, he may speak to the nation directly on TV. That is directly. And indirectly, he may ask his various ministers to speak to the people or to act. So that is indirect. So Durga Devi, she is the agency of the Lord taking care of the material energy. So Krishna doesn't have to do personally all of that. In fact, he does do nothing personally of that. He is enjoying his pastimes in Goloka. So even the super soul, that is not Krishna. The super soul is a expansion. The super soul is a Vishnu form. It is mentioned, super soul in the heart is a four-handed Vishnu form. I think it has been mentioned 12 inches in size. So that is Narayan, a Vishnu form in the heart, not Krishna playing his flute. Perhaps once a devotee has developed love for Krishna, then he may come in his heart playing the flute as well. So that is directly and indirectly. Does that answer your question, Amit? Directly as a super soul, as a Vishnu in the heart of everyone, and indirectly through his agencies, the demigods, universal form, Durga Devi. That is indirect. Still, Krishna is in control, but he's not dealing directly with all the material modes and all the intricacies of material energy. He's just working with Durga Devi, his servant, and Durga, she is keeping all the souls in this prison house until they are ready to take to devotional service and being released. So prison house is another good example. Huh? Government exerts its control through the prison services, Her Majesty prison services, indirectly control, even in the prison house, until they are reformed and they can come out. Okay, any other question before we carry on? Anything else? Okay, let's. It's the next paragraph. It's a little bit shorter. Second paragraph. Who wants to read? And you can make some notes while we read to clarify any points or asking questions. Varshana Mataji, can you read the next paragraph? Are you there?
Okay, you can hear me now. I'll just go to the screen now.
Second paragraph, starting with Vasudev.
Vasudev. Okay. All right.
While we're reading, up on your mobile or laptop, so you will find it.
Vasudev, or Lord Sri Krishna, is the cause of all causes. Everything that exists emanates from the Lord. How this is so is explained in later chapters of this work. This work is described by Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya as the spotless Purana because it contains the transcendental narration of the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The history of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is also very glorious. It was compiled by Sri Vyasadeva after he had attained maturity in transcendental knowledge. He wrote this under the instructions of Sri Naradji, his spiritual master. Vyasadeva compiled all Vedic literatures containing the 4 divisions of the Vedas, the Vedanta Sutras or the Brahma Sutras, the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so on. But nevertheless, he was not satisfied. His dissatisfaction was observed by his spiritual master, and thus Narada advised him to write on the transcendental activities of Lord Sri Krishna. These transcendental activities are described specifically in the 10th canto of this work, but in order to reach to the very substance, one must proceed gradually by developing knowledge of the categories.
Thank you. Yes, so that is a very important point of gradual progression, and we mentioned that before. Srila Prabhupada says, if you gradually progress in reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, by the end of the 9th canto, you will be a liberated soul. And as a liberated soul, we can properly appreciate and understand the 10th canto of Krishna's intimate dealings with the inhabitants of Vrindavan, and specifically the Gopis and Radharani. Without going to the purification of the first 9 cantos, we will certainly misunderstand the 10th canto, because it's very confidential topics. So we will gradually progress in reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam up till the end of the 9th canto, and then we will see here lots of liberated personalities ready to dive into the 10th canto of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So, all the Vedic literatures have been compiled by Vyasadeva, Srila Vyasadeva. His spiritual master was Narada. And it is specifically mentioned Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a spotless Purana. Why is it a spotless Purana? Ben, why is it a spotless Purana? Amala, spotless. Samir. Samir?
It's us. It's spotless because Lord Krishna is speaking it.
No, Lord Krishna is not speaking it. Lord Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita.
It's spotless because it's described in the pastimes of the Lord.
Yes, Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Lord himself. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is about the Lord. This is a big two differences, huh? And it's spoken by it's about the Lord. So, but why is it spotless?
It's the essence of all the writings of Vyasadeva. So when he finished writing everything, he was so unhappy. And then Narad, his guru, advises him that you're unhappy because you have not written about the Lord. And it contains the essence about Krishna and his bhaktas.
Yes, a little bit more. Why is it spotless?
Because
Samir,
oh, sorry.
Samir, your hand is still up?
Yeah, I was going to, as we were saying that we should read from the beginning, and it said that it's like taking darshan, that when you take darshan, you start at the feet and work your way up. And similarly, when we're reading the Bhagavatam, we start at the beginning and work our way up to the face, to Krishna's face. So that's how we should be reading the Bhagavatam.
Beautiful. I wanted to just mention that, and I forgot that. Ben, you want to say?
I was thinking about how it's spotless. Is
Yes.
it because it's because it's only focused on the subjects of Krishna's devotees and his pastimes, and it's not really concerned with any kind of karma kanda. It's not really concerned with any gyan. It's like a transcendental literature, and so in that sense, it's pure spiritual literature. So therefore, it's described as spotless.
Spot on. I was waiting for that answer. That is what Srila Prabhupada tells us. there is no impurities in the Bhagavatam. Many other Vedic literatures, the Vedas, there's so many other things. There's a Karma Kanda, how to, Yagyas are described, and Karma Kanda sections, how to perform certain ritualistic ceremonies to get a certain pious result. The Bhagavatam doesn't even speak about pious activity. It's all fully spiritual and transcendental with absolutely no material tinge. And that sets the Bhagavatam aside of the wider Vedic literatures, which it has its place of elevating the people at least to pious activity and to various stages. But the Bhagavatam is just pure transcendental spiritual literature without any material contamination, any material impurities. So therefore the Amala Puranas, the spotless Puranas, that is Srila Prabhupada's answer. Varshana, is your microphone on or off? It says here on.
Right,
Yes,
I'll turn it off.
yes, please. Okay. Anything else to that paragraph? Oh yes, I have another question. It says in the beginning, Vasudeva, or Lord Shri Krishna, is a cause of all causes. If we read the cause of all causes, which shloka comes to mind immediately? Pandava Prabhu, Bhagavati Mataji. Which shloka? Cause of all causes and all that is. That's an easy one. Ben.
Ishvara Parama Krishna Saksidhananda Vigraha Anadi Radhir Govinda Karana Karana
Sarva Karana Karana. Yes.
Sarva Karana Karana.
Yes, that is
from Brahma Samhita.
Beautiful. Yes, that comes to mind. He's a Ishvara Parama, the highest controller. Very good. Okay. Can we read the next paragraph? It is natural that the philosophical mind wants. So who wants to read that? Ben, go ahead. Microphone is yours.
No, I didn't want to read it, but I did want to ask a question about the last paragraph.
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to know about, you have to proceed through the different categories. And then I wondered, what are these categories?
Interesting question. Well, the substance is obviously Krishna. So what are the categories? Okay, question. Bhagavati Mataji.
Pandava.
Pandava, yes.
I cannot list all the 10 categories, but they are mentioned in second canto. That probably earlier, maybe you know, Prabhu, but there are 10 topics listed in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And the last one is Summum Bonum, which is Lord Shri Krishna. So that's what I think it is about. It starts with the creation and the demigods and so on. I don't remember all of them, of course, but that's what comes into my mind.
Okay, set is 10 chapters. I just today in my Kindle edition, I put the names and links to the chapters. So first canto, yes, 10 categories, 10 chapters in 10 cantos. That's 10 cantos. The first category, or the first canto, is called creation. The second, the cosmic manifestation. 3, the status quo. 4, the creation of the fourth order. 5, the creative impetus. 6, prescribed duties for mankind. 7, the signs of God. 8, withdrawal of the cosmic creations. 9, liberation. 10, the summum bonum. Is that what you mean, Pandava?
Yes.
Yes, these are the categories. Ben, is that satisfying you?
That's the titles of the canto.
Yes.
That's what I understand those to be. And I don't know, is that the categories as well?
It could be seen like that. There may be other categories, I don't know.
Okay.
If someone wants to research that further, you're most welcome, and let us know if there are any other categories, what Srila Prabhupada speaks of. Knowledge of the categories. Yeah? That would be an interesting question. Anyone wants to take on this question, research a little bit through Srila Prabhupada's writings? I'm sure some answers coming up. Can we, in the meantime, carry on with the next paragraph? It is natural that the philosophical mind wants to know. Amit. I didn't get that. He posted something. I'm feeling a bit tired. Yes, you said so. You need to go. Yes, it is. You brought up a beautiful question. Thank you for that. And it's very sad to see you going. But if you're tired and you're banging your head rather on the computer, laptop, we don't want that. So you better some rest and lay down after a hard days of work. And we see you on Saturday. Thank you, Amit. Hare Krishna. So, who can read that next paragraph?
I can read.
Yes.
It is natural that a philosophical mind wants to know about the origin of the creation. At night he sees the stars in the sky, and he naturally speculates about their inhabitants. Such inquiries are natural for man because man has a developed consciousness which is higher than that of the animals. The author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam gives a direct answer to such inquiries. He says that the Lord Sri Krishna is the origin of all creations. He is not only the creator of the universe, but the destroyer as well. The manifested cosmic nature is created at a certain period by the will of the Lord. It is maintained for some time, and then it is annihilated by his will. Therefore, the Supreme Will is behind all cosmic activities. Of course, there are atheists of various categories who do not believe in a creator, but that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. The modern scientist, for example, has created space satellites, and by some arrangement or other, these satellites are thrown into outer space to fly for some time at the control of the scientist who is far away. Similarly, all the universes with innumerable stars and planets are controlled by the intelligence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. To mind comes a question of he is not only the creator, but the destroyer and the maintainer as well. How does the Lord accomplish that? Rashmi. Samir.
Did we just talk about that through his representation?
Yeah, more specific. Who are the representatives who take care of the creation, of the maintenance, and of the destruction.
So the creator is Brahma.
Yes.
The destruction is Lord Shiva.
Mm.
And the maintainer is
Who? Mode of goodness. Who? Anyone? Who is in charge of that mode of goodness? Mode of ignorance, that is not Shiva.
Vishnu.
Brahma. Vishnu, yes. Vishnu, and that is mentioned throughout Bhagavatam. Vishnu is the maintainer, Lord Shiva is a destroyer, and Lord Brahma is in charge of the creation. So that's what it refers to. Any other question to that paragraph? Anyone? No, so I would invite Rashmi to read the next paragraph. In the Vedic literatures, we want to get through that whole purport today. So we may.
Excuse me, I have a challenging question. I know it's hard to answer this question.
Okay.
But the last part, sorry, it's a little delayed, but I'm involved sometimes in discussions of hardcore atheists.
Yes.
And this example, which Prabhupada uses, when he wrote Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and this comment was 50s, 60s. So even before coming to America. And so this is very perfectly laid out here. And since then, scientists really made, let's say, progress. But the main core of the subject is the same, like Prabhupada mentioned here, that scientists are controlling those satellites or space stations and so on. And my question is how to really convince these people, because if you give them exactly this point, that the example, you are so advanced, you create space station, whole bunch of, it's not even one brain, it's a whole bunch of brains who really design, maintain, and control all that. But why is it so hard for you to understand that behind all this huge cosmic manifestation is also a brain or more brains who do that? Why you cannot accept this if you are so scientific and you know it works on our scale, on our human scale? Why is it hard for you to accept the same principle that there must be a higher entity who controls everything? Maybe you have some ideas or hints.
Yeah, that is a perfect question to ask back to this kind of people. Why do they refuse to acknowledge a higher intelligence? Because they're so puffed up. They are so envious, basically. They're envious of Krishna. They don't want to acknowledge anything is higher than themselves. That is a very poor and sorry state of frame of mind. I had recently a discussion with just someone like that, and I hinted like super consciousness. I didn't even speak about Krishna or anything. He immediately countered, no, I don't believe any divinity is behind. So any bit of religious association, he immediately refuted that. And then he said, he said, I don't have the details, but modern science have come to a conclusion that matter comes from nothing. Then I told him, well, that nothing is superior. I mean, I didn't tell him that yet. Or did I? I said, whatever you call it, super consciousness, divinity, or nothingness. That's all Krishna. That's all Krishna. So they have a hard time to accept a superior order. And today I had a message from someone. Our purpose is not about God. I wrote back, then what is it about, O learned Pandit? And I didn't get an answer back, but I threw that question back to him. If our purpose is not about God, then what? And whatever he comes up, it probably comes up, we need to be righteous and moral and honest and so on. I will tell him the purpose of the eye is to see. And the purpose of the hand is to fill the stomach. So whatever he will bring up of the purpose of life is to be righteous, to be honest, to be moral and ethical. That's all Krishna. That's also, there's nothing out of Krishna. Krishna says, I am this, I am that, and all this falls into, it's all Krishna. Ben.
There's a chap, his name is Richard Dawkins. He's like the eminent atheist of this age. He's written many books about atheism, the selfish gene, the God delusion. Yeah. And the premise of his theory or his philosophy, his idea, is that everything came from nothing.
Same thing, yes, nothingness.
But that's the basis of their theory, that everything actually came from nothing.
Yes, I would immediately counter back. Who is that nothing? You call it nothing, we call it Krishna. It's just a different name. If you don't want to say Krishna, everything comes from Krishna, then okay, everything comes from nothing. That nothing, what you call nothing, that is actually Krishna. They have no explanation.
But but if you think about it, how can anything come from nothing?
Well, they call Mahavishnu, where all the universe is coming out from his pores and from his breathing. They call Mahavishnu, instead of Mahavishnu, he calls Mahavishnu nothing. Because otherwise it's too personal. They're impersonalists, they're Mayavadis, they're atheists. They don't want to call God. They don't want to call it any divinity. They don't want to... Samir, you're using this hand-raising feature very nicely. Thank you. Go ahead. Get your hand down now.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, I think Prabhuji was also trying to ask is how can we actually explain to them that God is the creator. So how can we actually convince them, and how can we put it in a way that they kind of understand, rather than because obviously they are in ignorance, and as you were saying that, they're in a very sorry state of mind because they don't know. But how can we, as devotees or inspiring devotees, try and make them understand, try and teach them?
In most cases, I came to the conclusion, we can't. They are too sinful, they're too envious, But if they're searching for the truth, some of them are searchers, some of them are philosophical minded and searching, then Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after many births and deaths, one who is in knowledge, he will eventually surrender to Krishna, but it takes many births and deaths. So what can we do? We may not be able to convince them by words or by argument, because they're just too much atheist, too much fixed on them. We can engage them in some way in devotional service, in some way, maybe through prasada, maybe through saying Krishna or hearing Krishna, or if they're too much contaminated and envious, we may not even try to preach to them, because they will just make offenses, and then we also being subjected to the offense of trying to instruct the faithless, one of the 10 offenses. So there are different grades of this kind of atheists. If they're open-minded a bit, then there might be a chance. But generally, it is very difficult. And to just keep the discussion, and it just goes around, it's not very fruitful. There are many, many innocent people out there who just yearning of hearing about Krishna, and who will, with little endeavor, will accept Krishna. But these deeply convinced atheists, I mean, with Dawkins or whatever, you can't convince these people.
Some devotees, they specialize in developing arguments and philosophical debate to counteract the philosophies and ideas of atheists. But they're very learned devotees who can stand toe to toe with any atheist and speak the philosophy to them.
True.
In a very good way, you know, a very erudite and scholarly kind of way. They've spent many years studying the philosophy to be able to engage in debate with people like that. So it does take a lot of study, serious study, to be able to debate with people like that.
Of course, Srila Prabhupada could defeat any of them, but he was very straightforward. When someone says these farmers near New Vrindavan, these farmers said they rejecting God, they are atheists. And then Prabhupada said, "Are you a rascal? You're a rascal. Where's the rain coming from? Where's the sunshine coming from? You're depending on the rain, you're depending on the sunshine." So in very simple arguments, Srila Prabhupada can defeat all of them in one go, without going into the scientific details of microbiology or any of that, just with logic and reason.
I mean, you know about the intelligent design theory.
Yes, that's
a very powerful theory as well.
Very powerful, yes.
To atheistic type people as well.
We have one article which Jimmy brought up a long time back about intelligent design. Search for it on our prasadam.org, intelligent design, and you will find that article with beautiful pictures about a very great argument about bacterium flagellatum, which is, so more we dive into cellular understanding what's the different mechanisms in a single cell. And this bacterium flagellatum is such a very primitive organism, but it has a motor It has a rotator. It has everything like a machine. It's all there. And there's some really beautiful pictures. And how can it be possible if this machine, by the theory of natural selection and so on, if that is to function, then all the different parts need to be simultaneously developed, which is just impossible to think about. So that comes from intelligent design. They brought that up. Very worthwhile. Look it up. Intelligent Design, Bacterium Flagellatum, on prasadam.org, and the pictures are absolutely convincing. I like any motor, like any engine, is a carburetor. There's this and that, and the drive shaft, and lots of complicated mechanism. And the machine will not work unless all the different parts are present. And all the different parts in the evolutionary process, they all develop at the same time in one go. Impossible. So yes, they argue like that. Of course, there are very scientific minds on this intelligent design, but they have been pushed a little bit in the corner and said, oh, you're just Christians. They're not. They're not. But that is how to discredit them. Very interesting. And any clear thinking mind must understand there must be an intelligence, a higher intelligence. Okay, not even speaking about Krishna and his transcendental form and his pastimes, and just speaking about a higher intelligence. That's enough. Okay. Can we just have at least one more paragraph? In the Vedic literature, that's the next paragraph. Who wants to read that? Bhagavati Mataji, are you there or are you alone, Pandava?
You already asked Rashmi to read.
Oh, yes, thank you. Rashmi, please. Rashmi Mataji.
In Vedic literatures, it is said that the absolute truth, personality of Godhead, is the chief amongst all living entities. All living beings, beginning from the first created being Brahma down to the smallest ant, are individual living beings. And above Brahma, there are even other living beings with individual capacities. And the personality of Godhead is also a similar living being. And he is an individual, as are the other living beings. But the Supreme Lord or the Supreme Living Being has the greatest intelligence, and he possesses supermost inconceivable energies of all different varieties. If a man's brain can produce a space satellite, one can very easily imagine how brains higher than man can produce similar wonderful things which are far superior. The reasonable person will easily accept this argument, but there are stubborn atheists who would never agree. Srila Vyasadeva, however, at once accepts the supreme intelligence as the Parmeshwar. He offers his respectful obeisances unto the supreme intelligence addressed as the Para or the Parameshwar or the supreme personality of Godhead, and that Parameshwar is Sri Krishna, as admitted in Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures delivered by Sri Vyasadeva, and specifically in this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, there is no other Paratattva, Samam Bonam, than him himself. Therefore, Sri Vyasadeva at once worships the Paratattva, Sri Krishna, whose transcendental activities are described in the 10th canto. You want me to continue? Prabhuji, you want me to continue? Unscrupulous persons go immediately.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry, I'm speaking and my microphone is off. Just one question. It here, and he, Krishna, is an individual, as are the other living beings. So what verse of Bhagavad Gita comes to mind? They're all individuals. We are individuals, and Krishna is an individual. Rashmi.
I don't know, Prabhuji.
Which verse comes to mind?
Mama Ivamsha Jivaloka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana.
Meaning?
All the living entities are my parts and parcels, and they all struggle in this material world with the senses and mind.
Yes. I did not have that verse in mind, more specific.
I
Ben?
know a verse in my
Ben,
heart.
which is that?
Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be.
That's exactly the verse I was thinking about. That is definitely affirming the individuality of all the living entities and of Krishna as well. Are there any comments or questions to this paragraph before we move on? Anyone? Okay, Rashmi. Yes.
Not a question, but Rashmi also pointed out this here was the continuation of this of these stubborn people.
Yes.
A
Yes.
reasonable people will easily accept this argument, but there are stubborn atheists who would never agree. So that's the answer.
It's great, isn't it? We just speak about it, and here it comes. They would never agree. Some are really that stubborn and envious.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I just want to clarify some Sanskrit. What does it mean paratattva, and what does it mean samam bonum?
Samam bonum is that's a Latin. Bonum means good, and summum, like from the English, the sum, the best of the best, so to speak. The topmost, you could say. Summum bonum, Latin. And what was the other word?
Paratattva.
Paratattva. What is the context? Oh, paratattva. Tattva, we know, that means truth, and para is the topmost. So, summum bonum, the topmost truth, same thing. Paratattva, topmost truth.
Prabhuji, isn't tattva substance?
Yes, truth, substance, same thing. And para is like Parameshwara, the supreme controller. That para in front of words that we see that quite often. Para. Even Paramatma. Atma. Para. The highest Atma. Paramatma. So in many ways, that para is top. And tattva, substance, truth. Yes, same thing. Okay, Rashmi, you want to carry on? We won't get through that. Or will we? Okay, next paragraph, Rashmi.
Yeah. Unscrupulous persons go immediately to the 10th canto and specifically to the 5 chapters which describes the Lord's Rasa dance. This portion of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the most confidential part of this great literature. Unless one is thoroughly accomplished in the transcendental knowledge of the Lord, one is sure to misunderstand the Lord's worshipable transcendental pastimes called Ras dance and his love affairs with the gopis. This subject matter is highly spiritual, and only the liberated persons who have gradually attained to the stage of Paramhans can transcendently relish this rasa dance. Srila Vyasadeva therefore gives the reader the chance to gradually develop spiritual realization before actually relishing the essence of the pastimes of the Lord. Therefore, he purposely invokes a Gayatri mantra, Dhimahi. This Gayatri mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people. When one is successful in chanting the Gayatri mantra, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must therefore acquire Brahminical qualities or be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra successfully, and then attain to the stage of transcendentally realizing the Lord, his name, his fame, his qualities, and so on.
Okay. We spoke about that quite a bit, that one has to come to the, and here Srila Prabhupada mentions, only the liberated persons who have gradually attained the stage of Paramahamsa. Here again, Hamsa is swan, and Param is the topmost swan, the topmost stage of Paramahamsa, of really realized persons. And the Hamsa, the swan, is a very interesting. It is said the swan can separate milk from water. If you give a mixture of milk and water, so the swan can separate milk from water. So in the same way, a Paramahamsa can separate spiritual from material and doesn't touch the material, but takes to the spiritual. So, yes, we have spoken about that, of how one must come to the liberated stage after the 9th canto, going through the purificatory process of studying, as Samir so nicely said, from the feet up to the ankles, to the knees, to the thighs, to the chest, and so on, up to the smiling face of the Lord, and being thoroughly purified through all the different cantos and all that knowledge and realization what is given there. And then we can attain the liberated stage and appreciate the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. Otherwise, they will be misunderstood.
Prabhuji, can you explain why Vyasadeva is saying about this Gayatri mantra?
What about?
Why he is saying like that about this Gayatri mantra? Vyasadeva is saying that first of all he's invoking a Gayatri mantra. I didn't understand anything in that last paragraph. Vyasadeva is purposely invoking the Gayatri mantra, and then when one is successful in chanting Gayatri mantra, then he will understand about the Lord properly. So what is the significance of this what is this Gayatri mantra significance? Because in India, everybody chants Gayatri mantra.
Yes, but they may not really understand the Gayatri mantra, because there are certain preconditions. One has to be situated in the mode of goodness, Brahminical qualities. One must therefore acquire Brahminical qualities to be perfectly situated in the quality of goodness in order to chant the Gayatri mantra. Yes, in India, everybody chants the Gayatri mantra. Everybody knows Om Bhur-Bhuva Svada Savidu Marinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Na Prachodayat. Everybody knows. And here in Leicester, we have spiritual groups, the Gayatri Upasaks, the Gayatri at Rental Roads. I have the temple. And they're chanting, as their mantras, they're chanting the Gayatri mantra. They're actually impersonalists. I have studied Mr. Sharma, the leader's literature, quite carefully at one point. He was a yogi in the Himalayas, but he's an impersonalist. So far, so that he says it doesn't matter which deity you worship. Once you have attained realizations and you cast away, you don't need the deity anymore, you don't need guru anymore, and so on. So they are impersonalists. So even the impersonalists chanting the Gayatri mantra. So that Gayatri mantra will have no effect. So here Srila Prabhupada makes it clear what are the qualifications of chanting the proper Gayatri mantra in the mode of goodness and Brahminical qualifications. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita which deals with the Brahminical qualifications. I find it you a little bit later. Quite a lot of Shamo Dhamma Tapa Saucham, isn't it? Give me a second. Maybe I find it. Saucham. Yes, here it is. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of the senses, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home and the rest, even-mindedness amidst pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical research for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides these, whatever there may be ignorance. That's actually not the verse I looked for, but that is more or less speaking about the same thing. The verse I'm looking for here, it is Shamo Dhammastapa Saucham Kshantir Archavam Evacha Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Svapavacham. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty. You realize that they're overlapping with the previous verse. Honesty, knowledge, wisdom, and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahmanas work. So these are the Brahminical qualification in Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, text 42. So these are the pre-qualifications of chanting the Gayatri mantra in that way as here explained. And then, yes, what Srila Prabhupada says here, then attains a stage of transcendental realization of the Lord, His name, His fame, His qualities, and so on. Does that answer your question somehow? Rashmi?
Prabhuji, the question was actually what is so special about the Gayatri mantra? What is so special about this mantra? Because I know a lot of initiated devotees also have to say this mantra, no? Something like that.
Yes.
I know in the past you have mentioned it about the significance of this mantra.
When one receives initiation, Brahminical initiation, then one is given the Gayatri mantra. At that time, where the Brahmins, they're chanting on the holy thread, Upavitra, they're chanting the Gayatri mantra 3 times a day, in the morning, at midday, and the evening. Sunrise, midday, and sunset. The Gayatri mantra has been coming from Lord Brahma, given to Lord Brahma. They're actually, in our Vaishnava Sampradayas, a number of, it's not just this one Gayatri mantra, there are 7 or 10, 7 at least, different Gayatri mantras. And they helping one to progress further in spiritual realization. That's the significance. But the main important point is just chanting the Gayatri Mantra without the Brahminical qualifications, and that is not very effective. Any mantra is very powerful. The Gayatri Mantra is very powerful. But the most powerful mantra for this age, even though there is some stress on the Gayatri Mantra, but more powerful, and the most powerful mantra is the Hare Krishna mantra, which can be chanted if one has no Brahminical qualification, or if one has all the Brahminical qualifications here explained in Bhagavad Gita. So therefore it is the most merciful and the most the best of all mantras, the Hare Krishna mantra. No pre-qualification needed. Shall we move on?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion that we leave it tonight?
Yes, we don't want to just rush.
We've gone far, and there's still quite a lot to go. There's even a few pages left in the purport.
Yes, we won't be able to. There's no point of rushing through. So next time we carry on with the paragraph Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a narration of Svarup of the Lord. It's proper, we taking our time. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was lecturing for 14 days or something on just that first verse of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So we taking 2 sessions. Next time I'm sure we'll finish that. And there were quite some interesting and important points. And we already have 8:45, and it's not a Saturday, it's a Wednesday. So I would suggest, Ben, that was a good suggestion. Thank you. And we do like that, and we carry on next week with that paragraph, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a narration of the Svarup of the Lord. And we'll do a bit of Kirtan, and we call it a day, if that is okay with everyone. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gattatha Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe Jaya Radha London Ishvara Radha London Ishvara Radhe Radha London Ishvara Radha London Ishvara Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jai Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Jaya Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Nitai Sachisundara Prabhupada Jaya 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 Prabhupada Jai Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev 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 Jai Gurudev Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Paditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Nama Thakur Ki Jai Premase Ko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Hare
May I just say something, Prabhuji?
Yes,
Haribol?
please. Yes.
Right. I just wanted to remind you that this Saturday, the 31st, it's Kartik month starts and lamp offering will start.
Haribol.
So we will have the Damodarastakam prayers, I presume. And also I wanted to remind you that in the temple, the cupboard, I've got the deity of Yashomati Mai and Lord Damodar, baby Krishna,
Yes.
who is tied to that
To the mortar. Yes, we'll get
mortar.
that out.
Yes, it is wrapped up in a piece of material. It should be in one of the drawers below.
We'll find. Yes. Thank you so much, Vashana Mataji. And yes, from next Saturday onwards. When did you say Kartik starts?
31st, which is Saturday.
Yes.
That is the first day.
So, okay, so we will chant Damodar Ashtakam, not spending too much time, but yes, different devotees can sing the Damodar Ashtakam also, of course, it doesn't have to be me. And we read the translation and then we move back to our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Thank you very much, Vashana Mataji. Hare Krishna. At the beginning, I wanted you to sing the prayers of Jaya, Radha, Madhava, but somehow or other you went there or whatever. Yes, Samir?
Hare Krishna.
I thought the Kartik month already started on the 23rd.
No, the lamp starts 31st. It's
They are
on the
different.
calendar. It's on our Hare Krishna calendar.
So different calendars, of course, but it doesn't matter whichever, because we will just do the Damodar Ashtakam on Saturday. And I didn't have a message in my Vaishnava calendar, which I can quickly Kartik. It doesn't even come up.
I got the 23rd to the 21st of November. 23rd of October to the 21st of November.
27, you say?
23rd of October
what?
to the 23rd of October to the 21st of November.
23rd, I have no entrance of 23rd at all.
No, because see, Samir Prabhu, we've got the Durga Puja, which doesn't finish until the 22nd, and then there's the Vijaya Dasami, Dashera, on the 25th. So until all that is finished, it's afterwards that, then we had the Ekadashi on the 27th, and that's when it's after that the last five first. That's when the Kartik
Lakshmi
starts.
Puja is on the 31st. Shri Krishna, Saradiya Rasa Yatra.
Yeah, and fourth month of Chaturmasya starts, you see, fasting from. So 31st is on our calendar.
Strange enough, I don't have any entry of Kartik at all, but I will find out. But it doesn't matter for our purposes now, because we will just do it on Saturday. Is that okay with everyone?
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Samir, is that okay? Pandava?
I mean, yes, according to the calendar I have, it's on Saturday, the first day of Kartik, and I would like to also invite everyone, whoever wants. We just got the news because that Radha Madhava temple at Grandsby Street is, of course, closed for the lockdown, but especially for Kartik, each Sunday, beginning from this Sunday, the 1st, there will be a 2 hours window for anybody who wants to come and have the lamps offered to the deities between 3 and 5 p.m.
Hare Krishna. So the temple is open at Granby Street between 3 and 5, and is a
Only
one-way.
Sundays 3 to 5.
Yeah, okay. So thank you very much. Whoever wants and can come there in a safe manner, please do it. and offer the lamp to the Lord. And if you can't, you offer the lamp at home, at your home altar. Yes? Okay. Thank you very much. Ben Prabhu, Dharm, Jayantibai, Pandava, Bhagavati Mataji, I don't know if she was here, Rashmi, Samir, Varshana Mataji, for coming tonight and sharing in the most auspicious recitation of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Now we have started, now we need to continue up till the 9th canto in this lifetime, possibly. Hare Krishna. See you all on Saturday. We continue and we celebrate Kartik. Then Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.